I love this mirror because it's got a lot about it that's feminine. It's shiny. It's highly decorative. It's got lots of curves. It's framed mirror, so it's doubly as reflective. But I think I love it most because it's used in this showroom with all of these industrial pieces that are so hard-edged, and even, you know, it's more about the feminine versus the masculine that's exciting, and it's new to me. So this is a classic roll-arm sofa covered in a washed burlap. It's got a great bench seat. It's got lots of fun throw pillows. What makes it feminine are the details, and I think this scallop along the bottom is fantastic. I've never seen anything like it, and the nail heads following the scallop shape make it a lot of fun. I think the styling is fantastic. It's up against a dark wall, weathered wood end table, sort of iron top table. All of these masculine elements really make it stand out and keep it from being too girly. This is a fantastic chinoiserie coffee table. Classic fretwork design. What makes it feminine is the fact that, well, it's white, it's highly decorative, and what's cool about it is it's carved out of marble, so it's sort of a cold, hard material made really, really patterned and light and airy. I would use it as the star of a living room. One of the biggest trends in fashion the past year is lace. And I've seen it from couture to the mall. So lace is everywhere in fashion, and it's also been everywhere here at the market. We've seen a lot of lace bedding, we've seen lace pillows, lace fabric, but I think it's really cool to find a piece that represents lace that's done in a hard material. And this mirror is made completely out of capiz shell. So it's a natural hard material that's been sculpted to look like a piece of lace. Well, plaid and gingham is everywhere in the fashion industry, and not just in menswear, in women's wear, everywhere. And it's definitely made the crossover to interior design. We're seeing so many plaids and houndstooths and window panes and ginghams in all sorts of colors, all sorts of scales. I love this because my design is classic, and I always like something that's old school. So I could see using this window pane as a drape fabric, and I could also see using one of these houndstooths in a crazy way, covering a sofa in bright green, just to give it a fresh life. Maybe even throwing some leopard onto that window pane, and all of a sudden you've brought something new to the picture. I've seen polka dot furniture, I've seen polka dot fabric, I've seen polka dot used in light fixtures, accessories, but my favorite polka dot of the market is this polka dot used on a rug. What's fantastic about it is it's been kind of deconstructed, so it's more of an ethnic print than a true dot, and that makes it, you know, usable in so many different ways and in so many different spaces. I can't think of anything more American than a quilt. It's handmade, it's got that really old school kind of preppy Nantuckety vibe. And I mean, especially in red, white, and blue, so American, so old school. I love these because they've even got denim on the back, which I think is fantastic. I think they look best when you mix everything together, like maybe some gingham, maybe some stripes, maybe I'd use monogram pillows just to give it a little bit more of that preppy flair. Bobbin chairs came to this country from England in colonial times, but since then they've come to represent a distinctly New England sensibility. And you know, my design style is classic, and so I love to anchor every room with a piece that's really timeless and speaks for itself, and I think this bobbin chair really does that. I mean, the distinct shape, that's beautiful from the front or from the back. It's like a piece of sculpture. And in this case, to add to the patriotism, it's covered in a blue and white ticking stripe, which I think is very, very high American, and makes it casual, which I love. It's not stuffy at all. Another really good example of the Americana trend here at the market is this rug, which is done in a Native American print. I think this is fantastic. I'm looking at this as a new geometric. I love geometric rugs. I love the fact that it's two color. It keeps it really sophisticated. And you can use this in almost any setting. I mean, it can go really classic with tailored pieces in a traditional room, or it can go a little bit more bohemian. I think I'd mix it in and use it with a hot pink sofa. So I'd take a little bit of Americana and give it a twist.
Okay, I loved so many things there. Let's talk about the feminine category first. Those mirrors, the first mirror that you see in the opening, and I love how it was paired with the industrial table.
Well, that's kind of that was my surprise, because I don't know if anyone knows my work, it's not particularly girly. So that was my surprise, to find femininity appealing. And I love those mirrors.
And that the one that looked like lace that you said was the seashell. I mean, that was gorgeous.
Really, really good.
Were you guys with her in that showroom? Did you?
We were. Yeah,
that whole showroom
I
was
love
good.
it. There are so many. I thought there were so many soft lines everywhere.
Yeah,
at
that was
Market.
another
Even-
thing. Curved sofa backs.
Even industrial things.
Exactly.
I'd say even some of the metal pieces that we saw in some of the
Had a
showrooms
curve to them.
were
They're
curvy,
also
yeah.
they're finer. It's like we've been seeing a lot of really chunky industrial furniture, and suddenly it's still steel, it's still metal, but it's thinner, it's flatter, it's
Yeah,
finer.
more refined.
So that's
Yeah.
refreshing.
Yeah.
In the fashion, I loved how you were saying to me this morning about how, of course, gingham, plaid, polka dots, and now we're seeing it directly translated into the home. And I loved when you put the different fabrics together and you had the large kind of blue and white gingham, and then you threw in the leopard.
Well, that's
which
kinda
would look,
how I do. That's
but that would
kinda
look,
how I do.
that would just instantly made me want to see that in a room. I thought that was
Good,
fantastic.
that's great. Me too. Well, I mean, that's timeless. That's not going anywhere. Those plaids and those ginghams and those stripes. So you can, the pillow is negotiable. It can go with the trend if it's leopard, if it's floral.
You know, you also mentioned polka dots. It actually was really funny because we were out in the showrooms, and it got to a point where we were like, polka dots, polka
We
dots.
saw so
'cause
many.
They were
I could
everywhere.
And of course,
done
they're on the
polka
J.
dot.
Crew catalog for the fall, right? She's wearing
On
a
the
polka dot
sweater.
sweater.
Louis Vuitton's doing
And then
it.
at the Whitney, isn't there a polka? What's the Japanese
window-
artist?
the
with
window-
Dots are-
yeah, she's at the Whitney, and also in the windows of Louis Vuitton, he's doing a
He's doing the polka
collaboration with
dots.
the
So
Japanese
where do
They're
artist.
these things
used-
come
they were
from?
subtle too. Like there'd be lampshades that were pierced.
Just,
Right.
oh,
Polka dots.
right.
Like,
And coffee tables the same.
right.
But I loved those rugs because it didn't feel too polka dotty. It was just
No,
a subtle.
It was really almost ethnic, but still a dot. So I thought those were fabulous. I'm going to use those.
And then on the last trend on the Americana, you were saying that for so long, and at Market we talk about the globalization of design, which is fabulous. And you were like, how many more times can we talk about ICAD or this or that? And
I couldn't do it again.
You couldn't do it again, and yet you saw. You see a reference to the great old classics, but I loved that black chair that you said almost was like sculpture with the
bobbin chair.
Americana blue and white fabric
Yeah,
paired with it.
Yeah, well,
So it
and-
wasn't sort of blah Americana, it was,
No, it's gutsy, and it's just a strong statement. And I mean, I've used those bobbin chairs in more refined silk linens too.
Ah,
They
yeah.
can be very dressed up, but I loved seeing it that way. It really was old
Betsy,
school.
did you see my shirt I'm wearing? I wore this for you today.
I know, I appreciate
It's
it.
plaid and it's red, white, and blue.
I love
Nice.
it. I love it. But
There
see,
was
it was right on
also-
trend. I mean, look, you've got to.
We're on trend.
Yeah.
On trend.
The whole bobbin thing, there was a kind of traditional bobbin, and then there was more Portuguese feeling, like blown out,
Right,
really on
right.
the
We
bed.
saw both. Yeah.
Yeah.
but again, it's that kind of, it's slightly unexpected Americana. I think we're away from that one note, the same thing, and it was more subtle, and I loved that.
Well, I love flags. I mean, I decorate with flags, so it just has an appeal to me. Caught my eye right away.
And those quilts were gorgeous too.
Quilts were
They were
great.
beautiful.
And
I
they
wouldn't
weren't-
expect to see that here.
Well, and it wasn't.
looked like you were in
doesn't have to
Nantucket,
be- It
like-
doesn't have to be corny. It can be really, really old school.
And
we
cozy and
didn't
elegant.
almost
expect
feel
to
like-
see it either.
yeah.
I mean, we didn't expect to see all of this Americana. It just kept coming up
Yeah.
and up and
Yeah.
up again and again and again.
And we're all going back and watching the Olympics. So
You
then
were
we're
wondering, yeah, with the,
realizing,
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm almost finding, we haven't seen Darren's yet, but I almost feel like the mega trend here is, and we're all onto something, which is seeing it's taking these traditional designs and forms and seeing them used in different ways.
Yeah,
I mean, whether it is the color or it's lace or
yeah,
whatever it is.
yeah. It's keeping it fresh.